This is what basketball looked like a century ago. And here's what it looks like now. So, how did we get here? Well, it all started when a teacher named James Naismith wanted to make a fun game for his students. And boom, just like that, we got basketball. But at first, the game was complete garbage. I mean, they played with soccer balls and used wooden baskets as hoops. Yeah, it was literally basketball. And they couldn't even dribble. But the game quickly evolved. And by 1906, metal rims were introduced, they finally allowed dribbling, thank God, and the very first professional basketball league was formed, the NBL. But 12 years later, another league was created, called the BAA, creating teams like the Celtics, the Lakers, the Knicks, and the Warriors. And by 1949, basketball was getting so popular that the BAA and the NBL were like, let's do it. So they merged, creating the NBA. But despite being the #1 basketball league in the world, most players in the NBA still had day jobs, like Norman Glick, who worked as a plumber. I'm not kidding. But in 1956, one of the greatest players of all time made his NBA debut, Celtics legend Bill Russell. I mean, he was so good that he won a championship in his first season and 10 more throughout his career. Yeah, 11 championships. The Celtics dominated the league for 13 years straight, but in 1959, Bill's biggest rival joined the league, Wilt Chamberlain, a man who could bench 500 pounds, sleep with 20,000 women, and score 100 points in a single game, a record he still holds to this day. By the way, none of those things were ever recorded on camera, so there's a bit of debate on whether any of it happened. The next 20 years were a dark era for the NBA. In fact, it was almost the death of it. In 1967, a rival league was formed, called the ABA, creating teams like the Spurs, Nuggets, Nets, and Pacers. 2 different leagues with over 200 players, completely splitting the basketball fan base. Not only that, but 70% of NBA players were addicted to drugs, which was a big no-no. And by 1978, the NBA was down so bad, even most of the finals weren't aired on TV. Nobody cared about the NBA. But right before officially going bankrupt, the league was saved by 2 unlikely stars. This is Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. And in 1978, they were the 2 greatest players in college basketball history that just so happened to be playing at the exact same time, leading to one of the greatest rivalries ever. They talked smack, got physical, all while dropping 20 points on each other. It became the hottest thing on TV. I'm talking 40 million viewers for a single college game. Between 1978 and 1979, Bird and Magic officially declared for the league, with Bird going to the Boston Celtics and Magic to the Lakers. Meanwhile, the NBA absorbed the 4 remaining ABA teams, making the NBA the only professional basketball league. And oh yeah, in 1979, they finally added the iconic 3-point line. The NBA was suddenly bigger than ever. Hell, the league even started selling players' jerseys for the first time. And it was all led by Bird and Magic. But despite all that, the NBA had no clue what was about to hit them, because there was a kid from North Carolina about to change not only basketball, but the world forever. In 1982, a 19-year-old college player was averaging 13 points and 4 rebounds. Nothing special, but it was enough to help bring his team, the North Carolina Tar Heels, to the NCAA championship. And it was during that game that he made a name for himself, because in the final seconds, with his team down 1, he did this.
18. Shot. Jordan. It's over. North Carolina has won the 1982 NCAA championship.
Michael Jordan was ready to take over the basketball world. And in 1984, when Jordan was drafted by the Chicago Bulls, he instantly became a star, winning Rookie of the Year, and looking like he'd be the face of the game for years to come. But at the start of his sophomore season, Jordan shattered his foot. Meanwhile, there was another player coming out of college, ready to take MJ's spot. This is Len Bias. And the kid was so good, scouts were saying he'd for sure be better than MJ. He was bigger, stronger, and a better rebounder. And in 1986, he was drafted by the Boston Celtics, a team that still had legends like Larry Bird, Bill Walton, and Danny Ainge. But just 2 days later, the NBA was hit with one of their worst tragedies.
Local success story took a tragic turn this morning. Len Bias, the Maryland University basketball star on his way to becoming a world champion Boston Celtic, died of an apparent heart attack today at Leland Memorial Hospital in Prince George's County.
He died of heart failure because he used cocaine.
The medical examiner said the cocaine in Bias's body was virtually pure, while most found in Maryland is 60% diluted. He said Bias inhaled the powder. Within seconds, it was absorbed into the blood and quickly interrupted the electrical activity in his brain, and that produced an irregular heartbeat.
Len Bias tragically passed away, and with that, brought an end to the Celtics dynasty. But there was another dynasty right around the corner. Now, a few months later, Michael Jordan returned from injury and literally became the most famous person in the world. He won 3 championships in a row with the Bulls, released the most iconic shoes of all time, the Jordan 1s, and he was so famous, you could recognize an outline of him. Everyone wanted to be like Mike, and it brought worldwide attention. By 1992, the NBA started playing games in countries like China, Germany, and Russia. And for the first time ever, you had legends like Bird, Magic, and Jordan all playing for the USA Olympic team, forming the Dream Team, aka the greatest sports team ever assembled. At this point, basketball and the NBA was at its peak. It was so big, the league even added 2 teams to Canada, but it was all short-lived.
Last night, we began the show with the disappearance of Michael Jordan's father. Tonight, the worst fears have come true. James Jordan was found dead, victim of an apparent murder.
Jordan was devastated, and being unable to cope with the pain, he officially retired from the NBA in 1993. This left a massive hole in the league, and the Houston Rockets tried to fill it, even winning back-to-back championships. But it just wasn't MJ. So only 2 years after retiring, MJ shocked the world with 2 of the most iconic words in NBA history: "I'm back." But when Jordan returned, he would meet the Black Mamba for the first time. And that's only one of the 8 sections coming up, after a word from our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. See, when you're as good at basketball as I am, you become a target on the court. So after I dropped my 69th point in the game, this dude that was guarding me got mad, blindsided me, and broke my ankle. And I didn't know what to do. I couldn't afford the cost of fixing my broken ankle. But after doing some digging, I found something that saved my life. An injury law firm that'll fight your case for completely free, unless you win. Yeah, Morgan & Morgan will fight to give you the best results. So if you ever have an injury, you can go to forthepeople.com and sign up for a free case evaluation to get started. Trust me, dog, you won't regret it. Well, look, we gotta get back to MJ, cause with the words "I'm back," he made his return to the NBA, where he and the Bulls went on to dominate the league again, winning 3 more championships in a row, including one on Father's Day, where MJ dedicated the win to his dad. It was truly beautiful. But as Jordan's career came to an end, a new era of players were ready to take over. Players like Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Allen Iverson. They all brought something the league had never seen before. AI redefined how you could dribble and move